Starting. We're starting. What's up, all y'all trickly bastards? Welcome back to It's 1700 Somewhere. As always, I'm Athen,
I'm Desiree.
and we do not have Josh here this week because he didn't show up.
For whatever reason.
So,
I messaged him, but he hasn't messaged me back. He is evil. And we don't have Connor today either.
so I'm gonna go ahead and check levels, make sure we can hear ourselves.
Okay, I'll jump for on whatever reason. Facebook so I can monitor.
So, yep, we can hear ourselves, so that's cool.
Well, it's just if it's coming in loud and clear for our viewers, because last week there was a massive echo for whatever reason.
Well, we're not doing the call line this week because apparently I still have been having problems getting everything squared away as far as
You have issues.
that goes, the audio for that. So today we're just going old school without the call line, and rolling without Josh. So yeah, let's do this thing.
So my week has been busy. It's starting to pick up at 7-Eleven. So it's just been non-stop cooking food. It's been absolutely crazy insane. And then Monday, we had to go to Portland yet again and waste one of my days off, which is fine. But, oh well. What about you, babe? How was your week?
Same old,
Same old.
just normal, standard, sitting around doing nothing stuff. So yeah. I always have boring week.
Yeah, because you sleep all day.
Not all day, only for an hour or two on my nap.
Yeah. Your naps don't fucking count.
My naps do so count.
No, they don't.
So.
No.
Takes a lot of effort. Takes a lot of effort to do the things I do.
Oh my lord. Yeah, okay. Lay there, do absolutely nothing.
So, yeah. Yeah. Other than that, yeah. This week was on the 6th, which was 2 days ago, was the anniversary of D-Day. So that's pretty neat. That was, so I can't even remember how many years it was now at this point. But yeah, all those years ago, all those people stormed the beaches there in Normandy. So we got a couple stories regarding that this week. So yeah. With all that said, let's go ahead and get moving right along.
Okie dokie, I know I have a couple stories this week as well.
Okay. So there's one. Actually, no. I'll wait for that for later. So we've got. I got this one. It's just basically. It's a kind of. It's an article. It's not really a story, but it's going through just saying, people don't really realize how big of a deal D-Day actually was. I'll link that in the comments right there. I'm gonna go ahead and read it first, real quick. So, let's not forget just how enormous D-Day actually was. So the amount of troops that there were there invading on D-Day was 153,110. We had 14,000 casualties, 6,330 ships, and 10,440 aircraft. With the aircraft, 3,950 of those were fighters, 670 were gliders, 4,450 were bombers, and 1,370 were air transport. As far as the ships, you had 600 specialty craft, which I'm assuming were probably the troop delivery vehicles, your amphibious ships, and then you had 250 minesweepers, your old wooden hull ships that go through and clear the mines out. You had 1,260 merchant vessels, which were probably like supply ships. 120 warships, so you're thinking probably like just at that time would be battleships. 3,500 troop carriers, 500 cargo carriers, and 100 destroyers, sloops, and frigates. You had 23,400 airborne troops, 1,500 tanks, 12,500 other random vehicles, and 129,710 soldiers landed.
Holy crap. That is a lot.
Yep. So, that was...
But wasn't there a picture that we saw of like young kids like going into battle as well?
Well, no, it was just kind of showing the general...
Oh, yeah.
Like, just the general scope of how, the soldiers going into war. There was, in that picture, though, there was one guy in there that looked like he was really young. I'm not really good with Army rank. It was 2 chevrons. I think that's sergeant. But he was an airborne soldier going in on a amphibious assault. The kid looked like he was, 16 or 17 years old. But yeah. What's up, Ross? Thank you for watching. So, but yeah. So, D-Day was a big deal. Lots of moving parts with that. So, and, we all know the biggest amphibious invasion in the history of modern warfare. Actually, probably warfare in general. So yeah. We got a couple more stories about all that stuff coming up a little bit later. We got a story on a Medal of Honor winner from the D-Day invasion. I think all in all there was 14. There was either 13 or 14 people who were awarded the Medal of Honor. And I said Medal of Honor winner just a second ago. It's not a winner. It's not a contest. But a Medal of Honor recipient is what I meant to say. So, but we'll go on to a couple other stories right here. So this story that I got right here comes from CDL, it's a CDL Life is what it is, but it's about something that some state troopers found on a truck during an inspection. So, title of the article is Troopers Make Savory Discovery During Level 1 Inspection. So, the California Highway Patrol took to Facebook on Monday morning to highlight one trucker's unusual food preparation technique. On Monday, June 3rd, the CHP Dunsmuir Grade Commercial Enforcement Facility shared a Facebook post that reads, Violation of the Week, How Not to Smoke Sausage. Smoking sausage is a process. Put the hanging or racked sausage in an area that allows good air circulation all around them and let them rest until they have dried to the touch. That's from letsmakesausage.com. This week's picture was taken by our sharp-eyed inspection crew during a routine level 1 inspection. While underneath this trailer, several interesting items were seen dangling from underneath the crossbeam. Upon further investigation, it appeared that the driver was utilizing a creative space to cure his sausage. This is not a recommended technique. The airflow under a trailer is full of exhaust fumes and roadway debris. While CVSA guidelines do not address this situation specifically, our entire staff would like to inform our readers this is not a sanitary method for curing meat products. So yeah, this trucker had tied sausages underneath his trailer to cure them for later consumption, apparently. So yeah.
That's pretty neat.
Yep.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be gross though?
One would assume, yes. Because, like I said, you're going to be getting all kinds of nastiness coming from the road kicked up on it and carcinogens.
Yeah, you don't know what the fuck is good. That's no.
So
You can get sick off of that.
yeah.
That is just nasty.
So yeah. Just as a reminder, do not hang your sausages from underneath your truck if you plan on trying to make.
You don't want your meat getting all stale and gross and dry.
You definitely do not. Definitely you do not. So, yeah, you got that one. So, let's see.
I'm trying to find one of my stories. Let me pull it up here. Go ahead, and then I'll find mine.
So, I'm having a feeling since Josh isn't here today, we're probably going to be cutting short. So, let's see. Another story that I've got, this is coming from, what day was this? A little earlier on the week, but, so, Champions League, I do believe that's soccer, I think. Yeah, those look like soccer players. So, at the Champions League, there was a model who decided she was going to streak, the field to advertise her boyfriend's adult website. So I don't know if you know the guy. He's a YouTube person named Vitali. He's had some issues in the past. He's one of those controversial YouTubers, I guess you'd call. He's kind of, I don't think his YouTube stuff is as big as what it used to be anymore. So he's doing other things to try to continue his fame. But basically what happened, his girlfriend is what's her name again? Um, Kinsley Wolanski is her name, and she stripped down to like a G-string type bathing suit and ran across the field with on the front of the G-string it had the name of Vitali's website, which I'll just read the article. So, running your own business in the age of social media can be bloody tough. So this is coming from Aussie Man. So, can be bloody tough. We've got so much information getting thrown at us. The internet is fucking saturated with heaps of people just trying to have a crack and promote their business, products or whatever. So how do you stand out in a crowd when everyone's marketing the shit out of everything? You send your hot as fuck girlfriend off on a streaking mission at the Champions League final. That's how. In the clip below, you see Kinsley jump the barrier like an Olympic hurdler, and she's off like the clapper straight out to the middle of the pitch. Kinsley Wolanski's boyfriend is a YouTuber called Vitali Zdor. I'm not even going to try to say that. His channel, Vitalized TV, has over 10 million subscribers. Clearly not content with his current level of success, he thought some free advertising would be the way to go. With a quick squiz at their website, they summarize themselves as wild pranks, tits and ass, and no rules. Vitali, that guy, is also known for his previous acting for Bang Bros back in 2011. If you're not running on the pitch in what can only be described as fanny floss, can you really call yourself a supportive missus? So, now this is a bit extreme, but it certainly got the response he was after. Pics of Kinsley with his brand name emblazoned across her ample bosom have been printed, published, and shared like a herpes virus. So this picture is actually kind of funny. You see her there in the freaking little bathing suit and all that stuff, and the guard who's coming out to tackle her, he looks like he's got like the biggest smile on his face. He's like, right? I'm gonna enjoy this. So, but yeah, and even
look
still,
at the smile he has on his face.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that.
That
is hilarious.
He slipped in a grab of the tit in there.
Oh, for a fact he did. Or touched her ass. Like, for a fact he did.
But yeah, so they got her, they grabbed her, escorted her off the field. Vitali got a bunch of advertising for free, all that stuff. So, yep.
And in the video, didn't he say, like, that's my girlfriend?
I think he did,
Didn't he yell that in the video?
Yeah, he was like in disguise in the stands, filming it, and when she ran across, he's like, that's my girlfriend. So, I put the link inside the comments there if you guys want to check that out.
I have a story out of Montgomery, Alabama.
Okay.
So Alabama lawmakers have passed a bill that would allow courts to order chemical castration for someone convicted of sex crime against children under the age of 13. Bill HB 379 would have child sex offenders undergo chemical castration before they leave prison. The bill was introduced by State Rep Steve Hurst, who hopes that this type of punishment would make sex offenders think twice. According to the bill, chemical castration Chemical castration would be a mandatory condition of parole for lawbreakers over the age of 21 who are convicted of sex crimes. The bill is now waiting for a signature from Governor Kay Ivey to have it signed into law. The offenders would be required to foot the bill for the procedure. Refusing to undergo the castration would constitute a violation of parole, the bill reads. Several states already passed chemical castration bills, but it is not known how often the practice is used. Unlike surgical castration that will involve the severing of one's genitals, chemical castration uses drugs to suppress sexual urges.
So, here's the thing with that. I guess I mean, if other states have already done the chemical castration thing, I can't really say that's unconstitutional, but in that, I still think a home light chainsaw would work better. Yeah, there's a good chance of that.
Yeah.
But I mean, chemical castration, in that sense, all you have to do is not take your medicine, I do believe, and the effects are going to be reversed. I'm fairly certain. But
You have to do it before you leave prison, though. That's part of the parole. Like,
you start the regimen, but I think if you stop taking the medicine, the effects aren't going to continue. But the thing that I see with that is because that's in Alabama, right?
yep.
So everyone's big deal with how they made the laws on abortion and all that stuff basically outlawed abortion or are outlawing abortion or however it's working out in that sense is, people are all up in a tiff about it. It's like, well, hey, what if someone gets raped and or my 14-year-old daughter gets raped and she gets pregnant? We can't freaking. It's one of the big arguments on that particular thing. So Alabama's like, here you go. This is how we'll deal with that. So they're gonna try to deter people from raping those younger, but even raping and all that stuff. But even still, people are still gonna do it. It's not a. What am I looking for here? It's when a person, they're not gonna really think about the consequences when they're going to rape someone. It's a thing that they're. It's hard for me to really. I can't even really say what I wanted to say. I don't even know how to put it. But either way, I don't know. I think this is all just a whole bunch of stuff. Just they want to do the abortion thing, so they're throwing this out here to try to fuck. My vocabulary just went to shit. Jesus Christ. To appease the people who are angry about the abortion bill, saying, well, this fixes it. No, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how things go with all that. I mean, I personally, honestly, don't see anything have any issues against the whole chemical castration thing for sex offenders. I mean, in most cases, if they're going to be raping people, going to prison isn't going to keep them from doing it when they get out. That's, like I said, that's a different type of things going on there when people are like that. So, I don't know. And I don't really like talking about that stuff too much because it's getting into politics and opinions and all that stuff, and that tends to just go negatively generally. So, yeah. But, I mean, tell us what you think. What are your guys' thoughts? What are your guys' ideas on that whole thing? Go ahead, put your opinions down in the comments, and we'll move on to the next story.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this story right here, since this last week was the anniversary of D-Day, so we got a bunch of stories that are kind of related to all that. So this week, this is from May 31st. There's a story about a 101-year-old World War II veteran who flew 1,500 miles to commission his grandson at the Air Force Academy. So Colorado Springs, Colorado. Joseph Klock is among the 989 members of the U.S. Air Force Academy's class of 2019 who graduated this week. But a unique moment with family set his week apart. His grandfather, 101-year-old World War II veteran Walter Klock, flew from Amherst, New York to commission his grandson. I'm so excited for him, Joseph's father, William Klock, told WGRZ before the trip to Colorado. He's fulfilling his dream, and he was so excited that his grandfather, a World War II Air Force bombardier pilot, could come and commission him. The moment was captured on camera by the Air Force Academy. Walter received a standing ovation, and everyone in the room was gifted with a memory they'll never forget, the Academy said. So, yeah, and that's all.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. That is pretty neat. So.
And those are memories, especially with 101 years old. I mean, he looks pretty good for 101.
I mean, I've seen some World War II veterans that you would, and pretty much every single one of them that are still alive right now are going to be somewhere in the range of 100. And I've seen some of them that look like they're in the 60s. So if you can pull up another story real quick, I got to go handle something.
Yes. Let me. Let me see. Okay, give me 1 second, you guys. I'm pulling up a story. Just 1 second. 1 second. Okay, so here's a story from the Netherlands. It just happened Sunday, and I read a little bit about it. Hi, Julie. Read a little bit about it a couple days ago, but she is 17. Her name is Noe, or can't pronounce it. Poth Evan. She has been going through mental health and different other things through her childhood after getting raped at a young age. She decided that she was going to be euthanized because of it, because she couldn't handle it anymore, at a end of life clinic that Netherlands have opened up since 2000. It was 2002. So I guess they have clinics there. If you want to end your life or for whatever reason, they will put you to sleep, just like a dog.
Yep, I heard about that.
Yeah, she couldn't handle everything that was going on, and she passed away. I know here in Oregon, you can actually, if you are dying terminally, and you know you're dying terminally, they actually have an option that you can actually kill yourself. You can take medication from your doctors, and you can actually, choose whenever you want to die, um, and do that way. I know there's a story about a year or so ago about a woman doing that.
It was a couple years ago, but yeah, there was a woman here a couple years
She had
ago.
like a terminally brain. It wasn't like a brain tumor or something that she had.
Yeah, she had a brain tumor or something. And Jerson is just asking to get a spanking. I just went up there and yelled at him about the shit that he's doing right now.
Okay, well, it sounds like he's back in his room. I hope.
Yeah. So continuing on, but yeah, I think she had a brain tumor or something like that, and she applied for the compassion. I can't remember. It's like compassion something. But yeah, here in Oregon, if you are definitely terminally ill, you have the right to go to die on your own terms, is what they're saying. So you can have yourself euthanized if you are going to die, regardless.
Yeah.
So before everything starts taking their toll and you start, the downward spiral and all that stuff, you can, yeah. So that's how
I
that
think it's like
works.
a bunch of different medications that you take together to.
And that girl that you were talking about is like when she was a kid, she was molested, and then, well, she was only 15 or 16 anyway. But when she was younger, she was molested, and then she'd also been raped, and she said she has so much anxiety and depression that she can't continue to live with it. So she was able
Yeah,
to,
I read the story.
yeah. So she, in that country, I can't remember what country it was, but in that country,
Netherlands.
the Netherlands, yeah, in that country apparently that was allowed. But I mean, at the same time, 16-year-old person isn't really going to be mature enough to be able to make that determination. I don't think.
17. She's 17.
Mhm.
But she already ended her life. I mean,
Mhm.
I guess they started the clinics in 2002.
Mhm.
Is what it said.
Mhm. So I was like, on that, that's no different than just suicide. I mean, she went to, and frankly, it's kind of going. Basically, what they're doing is they're like, so if you want to kill yourself, don't do it yourself. Come here and we'll do it for you this way. And
Exactly.
I don't know that. I don't think that's necessarily
It's a
how.
legal. It's a legal clinic. I mean, it's not. There's nothing against any part of that.
I don't. I
And I
don't.
don't know the age. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I don't know if that's how it really should be done, but either way.
No, I agree with you. I mean, that's no way to go. And I don't know the legal age of like when you can do it or whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's an option.
So let's see. Um, so other things that happened this week. There was, well, this wasn't this week. This was a couple of weeks ago. I do believe that shooting. There was a shooting in Virginia Beach last week, right? Yeah. So it was. There's a lot of things coming out about the guy who did the shooting. I guess he gave his 2 week notice on the Friday before the shooting, but everything, he was still in good standing with the company. It just doesn't seem like there's any actual reason he should have been disgruntled because he quit on his own. There's no hard feelings and all that stuff. He just snapped and went in and shot a bunch of people. So again, like to kind of stay away from politics and stuff like that. So just give kind of a little update on that. So here's a story about in Australia. So here's a story about in Australia during um, uh, a surgical procedure on the dude's chest. A fire ignited. So the title is: A fire ignited in an Australian man's chest during a weird medical incident. It just took 3 elements to make a fire. Well, that's all it takes to make. Well, I mean, if you want to get real technical into the science, it's fuel, heat, oxygen, and a chemical reaction. So technically, it's four. It's a dodecahedron, not a triangle anymore. But so but yeah, so for up until recently. Well, they changed that when I was still in the Navy. But you had the fire triangle: fuel, oxygen, and heat. But yeah, so it only takes 3 elements to start a fire, but you need the chemical reaction between those in order for the fire to actually happen. So that's why there are some fire extinguishers that work on removing the chemical reaction element as opposed to any of the other three. Heat, oxygen, or but by removing any one of those elements, heat, oxygen, fuel, you will remove the chemical reaction. It's complicated and kind of whatever. So complications like infections or perforations can arise in the operating room. But one man had a much closer brush with disaster, as doctors reported at the European Society of Anesthesiology's conference on Sunday. During heart surgery, a fire flared up in his open chest cavity. This rare occurrence, one of his doctors tells Inverse, was the result of a very unique combination of circumstances. But despite the rarity of the occurrence, she fears it may become more common. Dr. Ruth Shaler, the anesthesiologist at Tel Aviv Medical Center in Israel and Austin Health in Melbourne, Australia, who presented the case study, says the strange event began when a 60-year-old man needed emergency heart surgery at Austin Health. He was quickly under anesthesia to repair an aortic dissection, a tear in the lining of the massive blood vessel that carries blood from the heart to the rest of the body. Due to a chronic lung condition, the surgery required extra care. The patient had severe COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, which causes bullae, large air-filled sacs, to form in the lungs. Shaler tells Inverse. One of these had stuck to his sternum, the breastbone, which doctors had to crack open to access his heart. Despite being very careful during the operation, these bullae are very fragile, and one of them burst, she says. The doctors jumped into action to minimize the patient's risk of respiratory distress. They increased the flow of anesthetic gas, cranked up his supplemental oxygen saturation to 100%. Smokey Bear, the famous icon of force prevention, tells us that it takes 3 essential elements to start a fire: oxygen, heat, and fuel. Pure oxygen, like the kind that pumped through the patient's lungs and out through the burst bullae, is extremely combustible. During surgery, the doctors used a common tool called an electrocautery pin, an electronic device that generates high heat using an electrical current and is used to cauterize small wounds to quickly stop bleeding. Fuel, the third ingredient, came in the form of dry surgical packs. These simple items of dry pieces of gauze that surgeons use to either absorb bodily fluids or hold tissues out of the way during surgery. The combination of oxygen, heat, and fuel quickly turned into a small blaze inside the man's open chest cavity, with the dry surgical packs igniting in conjunction with the pure oxygen and hot electrocautery device. Shaler reports that she and her fellow doctors quickly doused the flames with saline solution and checked for tissue damage. There wasn't any, she says. The rest of the surgery went off without a hitch, and the patient was successfully treated for his aortic dissection. It was a close call, but for Shaler, it highlights a couple of key points. First of all, she notes that fires in the operating room have been reported 7 previous times in the medical literature. In all 7 cases, surgeons were using dry surgical packs, and 5 out of the 7 previous cases also involved patients with COPD, and the remaining 2 involved other lung diseases, increasing the risk of leaking oxygen. Surgeons should be aware of these risks, she emphasizes, pointing out that these incidents could start happening more often because the circumstances are so common. In case you were wondering, Shaler says the whole event was over too quickly for the doctors to snap any photos. Unfortunately, this was an emergency operation, she says, and we were too busy dealing with the fire and checking for damage to take pictures. And then there's another little, it says an abstract, so just kind of, okay, so it's got the case report in here of actually what happened. So, I don't know if I want to necessarily read that, but yeah. So, and we watched on a case of, was it the Resident? There was one of the episodes where there was a fire in the operating room, something like that.
Okay, so yeah.
So, but that's pretty interesting story.
That's very shitty. Like you wake up from going under. They're like, yeah, hi, mister. There was an incident. While we were working on you, you caught fire for a few seconds, but you were absolutely okay. Could you imagine? That would suck balls. Big time.
So, yeah. So we'll move right forward along with that. All right.
I think Julie commented on it.
She commented on the girl in
Oh yeah. Yep. In the Netherlands.
Yeah. So, apparently here recently, this was published on June 3rd, so this had to have happened here fairly recently in the past. I don't think I have any information on when exactly this was discovered. It might say in the article, but go ahead and read it. So, unidentified for nearly a millennium, the bones found in a UK cathedral may be Queen Emma's. The contents of 6 mortuary chests in Winchester Cathedral have been analyzed and radiocarbon dated. As it stands, all signs point toward Queen Emma of Normandy being one of the 23 individuals. Let's see. When anthropologists from the University of Bristol found 6 mortuary chests in Winchester Cathedral, they carefully analyzed and radiocarbon dated its contents. According to the BBC, the bones within belonged to at least 23 individuals, one of which is likely to have been Queen Emma of Normandy. As a historical figure, Queen Emma was quite an interesting monarch, married to 2 kings of England, King Ethelred and King Cnut. Yeah, it's King Cnut. I've never heard of that king. She was born in the 980s AD to her father Richard I, the Duke of Normandy. Her political contributions, namely giving the Dukes of Normandy a hereditary claim to England's throne, led to the Norman conquest in 1066. The Latin inscription on one of the discovered mortuary chests reads, "Mother and wife of the kings of the English." Scientists dated the chests to the late Anglo-Saxon and early Norman periods, and identified the bones of a mature female as possibly being those of Queen Emma of Normandy. Despite scientific advances in radiocarbon dating and osteological analysis, the ravages of history have made accurate conclusions difficult. When Winchester Cathedral was plundered by Roundhead soldiers during England's Civil War in 1642, the contents of these chests were scattered and mixed up. Locals repacked the mortuary vessels, but we don't know how they chose which bones to put in which container, or even whether they repacked all the same bones. So, Okay. Research on the vessels began in 2012, and over 1,300 bones have been reassembled. As expected, the bones comprising Queen Emma's supposed skeleton were found packed into multiple disparate chests. In order to confirm the well-founded hunch, scientists are currently analyzing the bones' DNA to remove any doubts. Initially, the team estimated these chests to contain the remains of 12 to 15 people, but as the project continued, the figure rose to a minimum of 23. These included the skeletons of 2 boys aged 10 to 15. According to the Vintage News, Emma was wed to her first husband when she was just a teenager. When King Ethelred died, she was married off to Knut, a Viking ruler. Queen
That's neat.
Emma of Normandy had children by both husbands and was herself a descendant of Vikings. Her ancestor Rollo, was a Viking warrior who became Normandy's first duke before he died in 930 AD. Her second husband, Knut, was also king of Denmark and Norway. Oh, that's neat.
Rollo was Ragnar's brother in Vikings.
Yeah, and Vikings is relatively fictional. But and this would actually be more that what was the name of that other show that I'm watching?
The Kingdom? Or the... something like that? Yeah.
Something like that. I think it's called
Isn't
The Kingdom.
that The Kingdom?
I think it's called The Kingdom, yeah. That's more, that one would be kind of more of a historically accurate, sort of, kind of. And I do believe in that one, King Ethelred is one of the kings that's currently in that. And I think it's about time appropriate to this period. So as far as that show goes, but I mean, and even then, that's probably going to be more fiction than it is not nonfiction. Queen Emma died in Winchester in 1052 and was buried with her husband Knut and son Hardiknut.
Oh my god.
Jesus Christ, Vikings have some of the most fucked up names.
Right?
So, who died of a stroke 10 years prior. Edward the Confessor, her son by Ethelred, was one of the last Saxon kings of England. When he died childless in 1066, it led to the overthrow of the Saxons by the Normans. A millennium later, scientific advances might prove a glimpse of what life was back in the 11th century England. Our ongoing research will reveal aspects of their diet, the diseases they suffered from, and the physical activities they engaged in. Bristol University osteologist and biological anthropologist Heidi Dawson-Hobbs told The Independent. The current scientific research is extremely important because it complements the historical information we are also amassing, added John Crook, Winchester Cathedral's archaeological and historical consultant. Professor Kate Robson Brown is largely convinced that the findings are almost certainly of royal blood. We cannot be certain of the identity of each individual yet, but we are certain that this is a very special assemblage of bones. 3D printed reconstruction of Queen Emma of Normandy's suspected bones is currently part of an exhibit called Kings and Scribes, The Birth of a Nation at Winchester Cathedral. The caskets are once again on display next to the church's high altar, with the real bones contained in a safe and secure environment as the studies continue. Oh, there we go. So yeah, that's pretty neat. I mean, a millennium is 1,000 years, so that's pretty freaking cool. They didn't know. They think they found the remains of a queen that's been missing for 1,000 years.
That's pretty neat.
So
we'll have to keep everybody updated on it. Like the story.
Nothing like being cremated before you're dead. That's a response to the dude who had a fire in his chest, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would. Yeah.
That would suck.
Brings a whole new meaning to the term "dying of fire," right?
Yep.
So yeah, Queen Emma type stuff, that would be neat. I don't know if that's really an article that's gonna be anything. We've got this article here. It's a picture of, or it's actually a video of an aircraft carrier with a bomber and some fighter jets doing a flyover, which is pretty neat. I'll link that article in the comments, just so if y'all want to look at it, you can. I don't think there's really going to be much to talk about on it. Well, I can skim it real quick and see if it's got anything of substance. I think it's just talking about, yeah, B-52 bomber and another aircraft flew over the Abraham Lincoln while conducting exercises on Saturday in the Arabian Sea. The move is intended to display the U.S. forces are ready to respond in the region, very near Iran if necessary. Yeah, so it's just show of force. We just whipped our dick out and said ours is bigger, basically, is what that is. So, yeah. So Dwayne Wireman says, I have a great uncle on the Arizona. Okay, nice.
That's pretty neat. Awesome. Oh, so I was telling Athen about it last night. Walmart is trying to do this thing where they will allow people to deliver at your house if you choose so when you're not home. The only problem with that is trust issues. Who would let random strangers into their house when they're not home to deliver food that you bought from Walmart?
I mean, I don't know, like when I was doing satellite installation, there were oft times that customers would let me in their house when they weren't home. Like I remember several times, going to an installation and I had instructions. Well, I showed up while they were there, and then once I showed up, they left, and I was there doing the installation in their house all by myself the entire time.
That's just
So,
crazy.
like, just lock up before you leave. Okay. But I mean, I guess in that sense, when you're dealing with that, there's going to be a little bit more trust, I suppose, because that's cable installation. They're going to know what installer was at the house and all that stuff, so they're going to be able to. But I mean, at the same time, you'd figure a delivery person in that sense is going to have the same scrutiny, I'd assume. But I mean, I also can't see very many people willing to let a Walmart delivery person just walk in their house.
It's not even Walmart. It's like using a Lyft.
But some people
or something to deliver the food.
People will also just let like pizza delivery people walk in their house and drop off pizza too sometimes.
Yeah, but that's like no. Especially when you have valuables in your house, you don't do that.
Mhm.
I was telling somebody today, a regular customer, I was like, with the stuff in our house, I would never do that. I wouldn't trust people to come into our house.
Yeah.
Especially if we have 2 expensive computers, and nope, sorry, never gonna happen.
I wasn't exactly trying to convince you to allow it to happen.
No, it's just some people would though. Like there's millennials out there that are lazy as fuck. They order offline, and they're like, "Well, I'm too lazy. I'm gonna go out. Somebody else can deliver it for me."
Mhm.
No, come on now. Go pick up your shit like any normal person.
So here's another article we've got right here from American Military News. This is coming from Representative Duncan Hunter. I don't know who he is. Like I said, I don't really follow politics that much, but apparently he was in the military in some capacity at some point. He says his unit probably killed hundreds of civilians in Iraq. So, let's see, Representative Duncan Hunter, he's a Republican from California. Oh, they actually have those? Is currently awaiting trial for misusing over $250,000 of federal campaign funds for personal use. Well, that's disappointing. But this hasn't stopped him from stirring the pot further. In an interview with Barstool Sports' Zero Blog 30 podcast, Hunter said while serving as a Marine field artillery officer in Iraq, his unit had killed probably hundreds of civilians, if not scores, if not hundreds of civilians. What? Huh? Killed probably hundreds of civilians, if not scores, if not hundreds of civilians. That is... okay.
That is bad wording.
And probably women and children. Jesus Christ, he must be a Marine if he actually talked like that. Hunter's comments came in response to a question about his support for Navy SEAL Special Operations Chief Edward Gallagher, who was accused of using a knife to kill a teenage Islamic State prisoner in Iraq and posing for a picture with the body and of other killings of civilians. On the podcast, Hunter said, I do believe, I've been following that story a little bit about Edward Gallagher, and it's sounding like he's going to be found not guilty. It sounded like he's going to be the charges are going to be dropped on him on that, is what it's sounding like. But
That's crazy.
on the podcast, Hunter said that he frankly doesn't care if the ISIS fighter was killed, and that even if everything the prosecutors say is true in this case, then Eddie Gallagher should still be given a break, I think. I mean, personally, we've already gone over this, but my opinions on that is, so, he killed basically how it turns out is he killed the kid. What he's saying is he killed the kid basically because he was putting him out of his misery, right? The kid was going to die anyways, so he just, killed him. The initial reports, the story I initially heard was Corpsmen were working on him, and Chief Gallagher was, just being a salty Navy SEAL, and came up and stabbed the kid while the Corpsman was working on him.
That's the one we covered last year, huh?
Yeah, I think so. So, but it's, obviously all reports aren't going to be exactly 100% accurate. There's been lots of things coming out around it, but it seems like, for the most part, everything he did was legit. He's a Navy SEAL operating in theater, and sometimes war is ugly. But
wasn't there a guy there that collaborated with the stories saying that he wasn't that evil or malicious?
There were people on his team saying that they were actually afraid of him. They had been tampering with his weapon to keep him from killing people, all kinds of stuff. But it sounds like that stuff isn't really legit from everything that I've been hearing most recently. Either way, so, and the San Diego Union Tribune reported that during a May 25th town hall, Hunter also admitted to posing with the body of an enemy combatant, saying, "A lot of us have done the exact same thing." Which is another thing, Chief Gallagher, I do believe, I read it up there, he's getting in trouble because after he killed him, he posed with the body for a picture. But, I mean, as far as I know, that was pretty common. Soldiers would do that, or Marine soldiers, combat troops there would do that. I think as long as since there's been cameras that could be brought with them into combat, troops have been doing that. The grunts have been doing that kind of thing. So I don't know. I'm not a combat vet, so I don't really have my opinions and all that stuff on it aren't really accurate because I don't actually. It's not something that Recent reports suggested that Trump might pardon Gallagher and other men accused of war crimes. Gallagher, who has pleaded not guilty to multiple charges, has become a cause célèbre among conservative lawmakers. In an op-ed in USA Today, Hunter said that Gallagher cannot expect to receive even a semblance of a fair trial, calling for Trump to pardon Gallagher. In its annual report on civilian casualties associated with U.S. military operations, the Department of Defense explains that civilian casualties are a tragic and unavoidable part of war, but no force in history has been more committed to limiting harm to civilians than the U.S. military. So that's kind of on that. I know it kind of goes into politics. We don't really want to cover politics. Oh, wait, Don's in the chat. Let's see what he has to say. He says, "What's up, losers?"
Don? You're a loser.
Don asks, "I ever seen the movie Platoon?" Yeah, I have seen it, but a long time ago, dude. Kind of reminds me of Tom Berenger's character, going solely based off of the story. Okay, so.
I really love that movie. It's one of my favorites.
So, but, I mean, I know we don't usually like going into politics, but, I mean, that's kind of, I guess that was because of the Chief Gallagher case and all that stuff. It's kind of one of those things that I was alright with talking about this week. So, anything from you?
No.
Alright, so we'll go to, we got a story here about some military grave markers that were found in an abandoned funeral home. I guess we'll go ahead and check on that. So, see, there's around 125 bronze and marble military grave markers are at the Richmond County Coroner's Office after being found in an abandoned funeral home. Richmond County Marshal's Office deputy found the markers covered by old blankets and trash in the garage of the old Dent's funeral home in Deontignat Street. I can't even fucking some French name. Street on May 18th while assisting the Augusta Land Bank Authority, which owns the property. Coroner Mark Bowen said an investigation has begun. "It is hard to say right now why these markers are here. I don't know. I don't know if they were paid for and didn't put them out. He said, I don't know if they weren't paid for and didn't, but they are all military markers, so I'm assuming they were paid for by the military and just wasn't placed on the grave. And this one, so World War II veteran, that's a picture of right there. Once the markers were found, Bowen was contacted and the markers were removed to his office. We were able to get them moved out over here to my office so we could start compiling a list of the names and seeing if we can find out where these folks are buried and if they got a marker on their grave. Some of the markers date to 1969 and are for veterans from different wars. Each has the person's name, rank, date of birth, and date of death inscribed. Generally. Bowen said that they were already able to find one grave site in the area that didn't have a marker. I found out that person had died in 1999 and still does not have a marker on his grave. I'm able to take that marker and put it on that grave, Bowen said. He hopes the majority of them are from the area since it was a local funeral home. All right, well.
That's pretty neat, though.
Well, I mean, it's really interesting. I like Fury. Oh, is that the Fury? Are you talking about the tank movie there, Julia Louis-Remain? The movie Fury? That was a pretty good movie. Even though, what the hell is his name? The Just Do It guy. He's a pretty good actor. I mean, I don't know if I really like.
Shia LaBeouf?
Yeah, that guy. I don't know if I really like his politics and stuff like that, but he's actually a reasonably good actor.
He's a good actor.
So, we got some other history stuff. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and tell this story right here. So this is more of the D-Day stuff. So on D-Day, there was actually this story about D-Day. So on D-Day, there was a 56-year-old general who stormed the beaches with the first wave assault on Normandy. He was the only general to land that day. He also was the oldest person to land that day, and he also was the only person to also have his son land on the beach that day. And he actually had to make several requests to be able to go storm the beaches on that day. He made 2 verbal requests and then 1 written request to get himself allowed to be on the beaches that day. He actually walked with a cane. He had arthritis, and when he and his troops landed on the beach, he realized they were a mile away from where they had to land. He went and then figured out where they had to be, how they had to get to where they were going, corrected the plans on the fly, and he was instrumental to them being able to achieve their mission there. And he actually received Medal of Honor for his actions that day, and he then died 5 weeks later, further into France from a heart attack. That man was Teddy Roosevelt Jr., so the son of President Teddy Roosevelt. So that's pretty awesome.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah, he's also, I believe, he's one of the few people whose dad also had a Medal of Honor, because Teddy Roosevelt Sr., the President Roosevelt, he actually was a Medal of Honor recipient, and Teddy Roosevelt Jr. was a Medal of Honor recipient. And I don't remember, but I think a couple of Teddy Roosevelt Jr.'s sons also received the Medal of Honor, because Teddy Roosevelt had like 5 sons, and each of them fought in several wars. Like 2 or 3 of them were in both World War I and World War II. One of them was only in World War II. Their family was actually pretty awesome. That's always been a problem I've had, the whole thing. Yeah, my bad. So
I would be drunk if that was a thing. Like, I would so be drunk.
Terrell Quell says, can't, waiting for my wife in car and have to drive. Oh, darn.
Well, that sucks.
That would be a good...
Can't join into the shenanigans.
That would be a good drinking game, though.
Well, I've been taking drinks every
smashed.
time I'm taking up. Oh, yeah. You would be, or I would be at least.
So, I don't know how much of this story right here is Well, this comes from American Military News. So this is a legit story, but I actually saw a continuation to it earlier. I didn't save the article though. But basically, what it is the U.S. military is going to be spending a whole month painting the U.S. Mexico border wall, and the continuation I saw of it today was that they're saying that it's going to be painted with a slippery paint to make it harder for people to climb the wall. So that's kind of interesting. I'll read this article though real quick, just to see what it all has to say. Members of the U.S. military currently deployed to the southern border with Mexico are reportedly going to spend a month painting a 1-mile stretch of the border wall in order to improve aesthetic appearance. CBS News was first to report on an email they obtained sent by the Department of Homeland Security to members of Congress. The assignment to paint the border fencing was confirmed to CBS by a Customs and Border Protection official. Congressional aide provided CBS the text of the email, which called for an unspecified number of service members set to paint barriers in the California border town of Calexico. I don't know. That just seems that's not really our job as far. I mean, military, all that stuff to be painting a wall for anything. I mean, it's just for aesthetic purposes, so it looks pretty. And I don't see why they're having military do it. Shouldn't that be like Border Patrol's job? Well,
You would think.
well,
Get them to do it.
While the primary purpose is to improve the aesthetic appearance of the wall, there may also be an operational benefit based on our experience with painted barrier in Nogales, Arizona, according to the email CBS reported. The Department of Defense is to conduct the application of this task while CBP will pay for it, and the paint and equipment is estimated to cost about $150,000, a CBP official told CBS. Troops have been deployed to the southern border for 8 months since October 2018 and are expected to be there through this September. Acting Defense Secretary Patrick Shanahan has pointed out that troops will not be there indefinitely, but that the mission will likely keep troops at the southern border for a few years. Approximately 4,400 U.S. service members are deployed to the southern border, a combination of duty troops and National Guardsmen. The troops are strictly prohibited from performing law enforcement duties, but they are at the border helping build barriers and provide services to support customs and border protection, as well as the Army Corps of Engineers, which is building the border wall. Yep. All right. So they're going to paint it. So the Army Corps of Engineers is building it. I do guess that would come down to them. So. Dwayne Wireman says, I'm already talking to the ghost of Elvis, so too late. Yeah, so Julia Little Sputter Remain, get people on community service to
I
to
agree
paint
with that.
it. Well, yeah, that would be cool, but what they generally do with people on community service is have them go pick up trash at the dump or along the roads.
Here in Oregon, where we used to live, they would go down and paint the tunnel by the canal from the graffiti down there, and they would pick up all the trash. I mean, you can get young teenagers to do that shit doing the community service. I mean, why not?
The one time I had to do community service, I had to go to the dump. They sent me to the dump to pick up trash. Walking around the perimeter of the dump picking up trash.
That's funny. So here's something awesome that I just came across on Facebook. If you're a major Game of Thrones fans, because I know we are, it says, want to explore the Westeros and Essos IRL cruise is set to debut a Game of Thrones themed ship in 2020, and you can win a free 7-night stay.
Cool.
As part of the trip, you and 3 friends will explore the most iconic Game of Thrones filming locations around the islands, including King's Landing. What is it? Oh no, Bravos and the Westeros Riverland. Also, you'll score free swag, complimentary breakfast, lunch, and plenty of cocktails. The cruise departs from Split on August 8th. 2020, and arrives back in I don't know how to even pronounce that island or place, on August 15th.
Nice.
So, and I guess you get a luxury yacht with private balconies for Lannister. It's pretty cool.
Nice. That'd be pretty cool.
Go to delish.com if you want the details on how to win a 7-night stay for the Game of Thrones themed cruise.
So,
That's
on D-Day, which was the 6th, 2 days ago, apparently at approximately 20 churches, schools, and town halls across the country, a tribute will take place to honor 13 Medal of Honor recipients who served in the D-Day invasion 75 years ago at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They rang the bells 13 times at each location to commemorate them. So, did our town hall do that? Because you would have been at work. Well, actually, yeah, you would have been at work, and you're right across the street from town hall.
the courthouse, right across the street.
Okay. Did they ring the bell? No. Okay.
Not that I know of, no.
Okay. So you would have known had they rang the bell.
No.
But yeah. So nope, they didn't ring the bell here in town. But
No,
so
they didn't.
we got another article here. I read it actually the other night, so I'm not gonna. I'll share it into chat. This one's about Bigfoot. So in the 70s, I do believe it was 60s or 70s, there was a guy who found some little small patch of skin with some hair on it, and he sent it to the FBI for it to be tested because he's a Bigfoot searcher, and he thought that it might have been Bigfoot hair, so he had it go to the FBI's crime lab to be tested, and it took from 1960s or 70s, whenever it was, until just recently for the FBI to actually test it and then put out the results, and they're saying that nope, it was just deer. So
It took that long.
yeah. So, but I mean,
That's
then
funny.
you also have you're gonna have the real hardcore conspiracy theorists about this whole thing saying that it's a cover up by the FBI. Yeah, they took them that long to come out, and so it was 1976. A letter to Cochrane dated November 24th, 1976. Byrne requested that the FBI analyze a sample of skin with hairs attached. So, yeah. So all the way from then till now, and the FBI is just like, oh yeah, it was deer. So either they just, didn't want to
They're
test it.
covering something up.
Either it was they just didn't want to test it because it's a waste of their time. So they didn't, but eventually it just became such a freaking thing. Someone was making such a big deal about it. They're like, okay, whatever. Maybe they didn't have the sample still. Maybe they had never tested it. Maybe they did test it. Who knows? I don't know. But they said it was just deer. So, I mean, and the conspiracy theorists are going to come out and throw a fit.
They say that they're trying to cover shit up and blah, 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 blah. It's going to happen.
There y'all go. Watch the views. Well, thank you. Wow, 16. Nice. All right. So, Terrell, well, I have to find my old Trogdor shirt for the Game of Thrones cruise. Trogdor! The Burninator. That would be awesome. Thank you, Philip. Thank you for the shares and stuff, dude. So, yeah. Let's go ahead and move on to another story. So, yeah, that Bigfoot stuff, we'll see how that works out. So, another story this week, there was
Another time this week.
yeah, a retired Army Special Forces officer who had deployed 10 times this week died on Mount Rainier, climbing it in Washington. So I know Mount Rainier, I'm fairly certain Mount Rainier is either the highest or one of the highest peaks in North America. It's also one of the more advanced mountain climbs that you can do. And I think people actually use it for training in the steps to building up to climbing Mount Everest. So it's like Mount Rainier is not a bullshit mountain to be climbing, but and this a retired Army Special Forces officer, which means and this is so American Military News. I would assume they got that correctly, which means he was probably a Green Beret if they're calling him Special Forces. Died in an accident while climbing Mount Rainier in Washington State last week. Retired Lieutenant Colonel Arlie Arlie William Bill Dean, 45, wow, was among a group of 6 Mount Rainier climbers on Liberty Ridge who suffered from a rock fall at an altitude of 10,400 feet on May 29th, leaving Dean dead. 2 airlifted with injuries and 3 unharmed. Oh, damn, so it was like a rock slide, basically, kind of like an avalanche, but with rocks. I'm assuming. So KIR-07 was the first to release Dean's identity, but Task and Purpose was the first to identify Dean as a decorated Special Forces officer who played a large role in defeating ISIS in both Iraq and Syria. Army records indicate that Dean's military career sprawled over 2 decades within Special Ops. He had been deployed 10 times, 9 to Iraq and 1 to Jordan, Task and Purpose noted. Public Information Officer Kevin Baker said only about 2% of the people who climb Mount Rainier every year attempt this route, which is packed with steep, icy slopes and terrain that is ripe for avalanches. These climbers actually were very well prepared. They were very experienced climbers. They were taking all of the steps necessary to make sure that they would be safe, Baker added. Dean graduated from West Point Military Academy in 1997 and retired from the Army in August 2017. Dean endured some of the harshest military training, including Special Forces qualification, Army Ranger School, Army Air Assault School, Military Freefall School, and Special Operations Dive School. His awards and badges include the Legion of Merit, 4 Bronze Stars, 2 Defense Meritorious Service Medals, the Army Commendation Medal, the Combat Infantryman Badge, and the Expert Infantryman Badge. Dean is survived by his wife and 2 daughters. Dean's memorial service is scheduled for 3 p.m. on June 17th in Juneau, Alaska. A GoFundMe is underway to support Dean's family. An Army officer who had been deployed with Dean and wished to remain anonymous said he was just completely devoted to his family. The hardest part is coming to terms with not having a father to raise them because he was such an incredible dad. So, rest easy. And yeah, no matter how well prepared you are in situations like that, you can, in fact, just have problems that happen. So,
that just sucks.
Yep. So, I mean, if he's a Green Beret, you know, they go through mountain school and all that stuff. He's, like I said, he was probably a very, very experienced climber, very, very, very well prepared for it. And yeah, I know hashtag white people, but sometimes things just don't work out the way you want them to, it seems.
Not white people are the only people that climb.
Well, how often I mean, well, yeah, that's true, but I mean, it's just like a meme. So, you know, and because Don's, you know, technically not a white person, so he has the right to do that. So yeah. Now we're moving into more of the tech and gaming type stuff. So let's go. So we got this one popping up. So tech, gaming, pop culture.
Great.
No,
my
great.
Favorite.
So we've got a story here that came out 6th of June on D-Day, the anniversary of D-Day. Uncharted movie sets a 2020 release date. So Sony Pictures announced a holiday release date Thursday for the action-adventure film based on the Naughty Dog video game franchise, which has Spider-Man star Tom Holland set to play a younger version of fortune hunter Nathan Drake. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Uncharted opens in North American theaters on December 18th, 2020. That release date pits the film against Steven Spielberg's remake of West Side Story and the untitled sequel to Coming to America. Oh yeah, because you probably don't know it. There was a Eddie Murphy. Yeah, right. Eddie, the dude from Beverly Hills Cop. That's his name, right? Eddie Murphy. But I can't believe I'm going blank. But him and I do believe Arsenio Hall is going to be in it as well. Because Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall were in a movie back in the 80s called Coming to America, and they're making a sequel to it. So it's been like, you know, probably damn near 30 years since the original was out, and they're finally making a sequel to it. And both Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall are supposed to be in it, I do believe. So, I mean, that's a rough point for Uncharted, for like this movie to be coming out too, because, I mean, historically, I haven't seen many movies based off of video games that like are really, really good movies. There's, not many of them. I
There's
mean,
not a lot.
there'll be you'll have some that are movies that are good and all that stuff, but they're not going to be like AAA blockbuster titles.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that sequel to Coming to America is going to probably blow up pretty good because, I mean, well, people have been waiting 30 years. So, and then remake of West Side Story. Come on now. So Uncharted might have a little rough go at it. So Uncharted will be directed by 10 Cloverfield Lane Dan Trachtenberg from a screenplay by Jonathan Rosenberg and Mike Walker. For more on video game movies, check out our rundown of every film project currently in development. So and find out which video game movies have had the best opening weekends. And for more on Uncharted, read up on why we think Tom Holland is an inspired choice to play Nathan Drake, and revisit that sweet fan film Nathan Fillion made last year. All right, so yeah, I mean, if you guys are interested in Uncharted, that movie's coming out. I really do want to watch it because I've played all the Uncharted games, and I actually really like the Uncharted series. So, should have been Nathan Fillion. Yeah, I think it should have been Nathan Fillion. I think he would do. But they're saying the dude who plays Nathan Drake, he's playing it. The Spider-Man kid. Can't remember his name now. But they say he's actually going to be playing a young Nathan Drake. So perhaps for an older Nathan Drake, Nathan Fillion could do it. I don't know. But I agree with you, Don. I do think Nathan Fillion would make a much better Drake. So, hashtag white people, take it down a few notches, just jokes. I'm just saying facts. Not mad, I was asking. So, okay, well, we'll move right along on that.
John, if you want to state your opinion, then you should be on the show. Period. Boom.
Oh, she dropped that.
What now? What now, bitch?
So
you dished out on us because of work.
So another story we have here. I'm gonna quickly circumvent that whole course of action. So Fable 4 story details have emerged, is revealed due soon. So, I know Desiree, she's played a couple Fable games. She likes them.
I played all of them.
I like Fable as well. Like, Fable 1 was one of my favorite games ever. Fable 2 was pretty good. Fable 3 blew. And now
we played and beat all of them. You and I.
Mm-hmm. So Fable 3 sucked. I just can't believe they did that to Fable, but I played it anyways just because I'm a huge Fable fan. But there's been a lot of things about a possible Fable 4. And they're starting to pop out a little bit more as E3 is starting to come up a little bit closer. Or actually, is E3 already going? I don't know. I haven't been really paying too much attention to that, to be honest. Fable 4 rumors pop up nearly as often as Half-Life 3 rumors. They do, actually. But it looks like Microsoft is gearing up for something, and it's looking ever more likely to be the next Fable game. Over on Reddit, a thread has appeared that offers up what's apparently a lot of information about Fable 4, and it's gotten the internet very excited. Some pictures, Redditor...
I'm excited.
Yeah, I know. Redditor Hurt Potatoes shared a link to a now deleted video apparently showing off the new game. I'm not gonna see. Video is gone, but I snagged a screenshot of the info the leak gave. First third person, in-depth character creator, completely open, nice, no guns, can ignore main quest and never become a hero. Okay. Players can build towns, ties into main quest heavily if you get the bad ending and fail. Multiplayer Unreal Engine, because like the problem with Fable, and they tried to do that Fable Online thing for a second too, which was even worse than Fable 3. But it's like the problem is like Fable, the first Fable was like a really open world sandbox game. Like you could do whatever you want. Your character creation was up to you. It had to do like the way your character, even the way your character looked, depended on how you played. Like just the systems that they used in Fable were just outstanding. And then as like when Fable 2 came out, they still kind of had that system in there, but it was dumbed down a whole lot, really simplified. And then going into Fable 3, it was just kind of like, it was a real linear freaking hold your hand. But I mean, and that's the thing. Fable 1 was actually fairly linear. It wasn't open world, but it was sandbox. So, and in the little instances that you had, that was effectively open world. But, you know, they were small instances. Now, it's sounding like from that, for Fable 4, they're going to make it a completely open world and as well as sandbox. So if they're doing that, that sounds like it might go back to be more similar to what Fable 1 was like, as opposed to the hand-holding lameness that was Fable 3. So
That would be cool.
yeah, a user by the name of LagSwag1 managed to extract the key points from the video before its removal, writing in a comment, "Video is gone, but I snagged a screenshot of the info the leak gave." So it's that again. All right. So it's running on the Unreal Engine too, which is neat. Albion and Aurora are gone. Lands reduced to fables. The Spire was rebuilt and used by a Mad King to wish that an asteroid would strike the planet. He also wished it would happen again in the far future. Eons later, and everything is new, medieval themed, new continents, and you have to stop the destruction of the planet again. Teresa and a Heroes Guild are preserved on another planet via a demon door. Time travel heavily involved in play. Jack of Blades returns. Alright. Whether or not the leak is true remains to be seen, but this isn't the first time we've heard about Fable 4 in recent weeks. Last week, a Fable 4 leak appeared to come from none other than Microsoft itself via its Twitch-like streaming platform, Mixer. Gamers have found that searching the website for Fable content doesn't just yield the likely results that you'd expect, but also a listing for Fable 4. PC Games In writes that Mixer uses a database of official games to spit out its results, meaning it'd be a pretty hard thing for someone to fake. Does this mean we can expect a Fable 4 reveal at E3 2019? Maybe it'll be a launch title for the Xbox Scarlet. Who knows? So, and that's another thing. If Fable is an Xbox, is a Microsoft exclusive, an Xbox exclusive, I don't know. Well, Microsoft though, it's going to have to be on PC. I can't see it not being on PC. Might have just got a pop up about Red Dead 2 PC release. Hold on. Let me check comments real quick. So, Fable is overrated. Short story, no end game. See, the 2 and 3, yes, I'll agree with you on that. Fable 1, even though it was a reasonably short story, I think it had more to do with the actual depth of the game itself. But I agree with you on it. It was a really short game. So Terrell Guel says, "I like the Fable franchise. I'll play 4 if it comes out." So yeah, and I definitely plan on playing Fable 4. If there actually is going to be a Fable 4, I'm playing it no matter what. So let's go ahead and check out this right here. Take-Two CEO says no downside to Red Dead Redemption 2 PC release. This literally just popped up less than a minute ago. So, Rockstar Games' Red Dead Redemption 2 was one of the best games of 2018, winning over millions of fans and becoming an overnight classic, yet it's still not on PC yet. The narrative-driven Western has now sold over 23 million copies as more and more people experience the amazing and heartbreaking tale of Arthur Morgan in this prequel to Red Dead Redemption. Let's see. The one slight issue with Red Dead 2 is that it's only available on Xbox One and PlayStation 4, leaving PC gamers high and dry. PC release for Red Dead 2 is something fans have been clamoring for since the game was first announced. And now Rockstar Games' parent company, Take-Two Interactive, has weighed in on whether or not it's likely to happen. During a recent investor briefing via GameSpot, Take-Two's CEO Strauss Zelnick spoke about the possibility of launching Red Dead Redemption 2 on PC, saying there is no downside to releasing the game on PC. Unfortunately, that was all that was said on the matter, though. Though it does make it ever more likely that Red Dead 2 will be launching on PC at some point in the future. If Take-Two top dog can't see any issues or reasons as to why it should happen, and if it's going to bring in money for the company, it's a pretty safe bet to say Red Dead 2 will be coming to PC. Question is when. I'm going to assume, so, I mean, if they're saying that it's not a bad idea to do it, which obviously, of course it wouldn't, They're going to make more money if they release it on PC, I'm sure. But if they do release it on PC, they're not going to just, be like, hey, we're going to drop it in the middle of summer. It's probably going to be something that's going to happen coming closer to like holiday season. So it'll be getting dropped probably like a November, December time frame, I'd assume. So
I don't like it.
you don't like what?
Red Dead Redemption 2.
Why don't you like Red Dead Redemption 2?
Because it has fucking Old Town Road in it. Gayest fucking song on the planet
it doesn't have Old Town Road in it. They made the first video for Old Town Road with Red Dead Redemption.
I don't fucking give a shit. If they even associate with that song, they're off my list forever.
So Julie is
I'm not a gamer.
Heading off for breakfast. Later, Julie. Have a good weekend. All right. So, and for those of you who play Apex Legends, it seems Season 2 is going to be bringing dragons with it. So, yeah. I'm not going to really read that because I'm not a Red Dead fan. Or not Red Dead. I'm not a freaking, that game. Apex Legends fan. So, bloop. Get rid of that.
I got you saying you hate Red Dead Redemption. Haha. That's funny.
So, Josh just woke up.
Yeah, he's gay.
10 games that could surprise us at E3 2019. So let's see what games they're predicting might be coming out for this year. Right, 10 games that could surprise us at E3 2019. So we got Square Enix's Avengers Project. At this rate, Square Enix's take on the famous supergroup is going to take as long as the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe did to reach Endgame. Even more curious, Square said their Avengers game is part of a multi-game partnership with Marvel. What? Okay, Square, okay, that makes more sense, sorry. Reading comprehension, Jathan, it's great. With Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal, Tomb Raider and Deus Ex listed as the development teams behind at least the first game. Maybe they're still lost in licensing agreement discussions or an alternate world where Captain America goes back in time to yell at them to hurry up before marrying Peggy Carter. We finally heard that it's coming to E3 this year, so maybe it'll surprise us by showing up nearly finished and knock our socks off. So that might be cool. Starfield. Okay, that's the new... That is that's a Bethesda game. The one that they're saying is the reason why Fallout 76 ended up sucking because they're focusing too much on Starfield. So some of you reading this have kids younger than when Bethesda last popped out in the original series. For 25 years, the developer has been living off the Elder Scrolls and then Fallout. But now we're supposedly going to space. E3 won't be a terribly sparse one for Bethesda this year. We'll likely get some Wolfenstein, Youngblood, and Doom Eternal footage. And they may make a Hail Mary pass on Fallout 76 with a major update announcement. And Elder Scrolls Blades and Online are rolling along. But none of those are smothering you. None of those are smothering you end a show with. Or something. Jesus Christ. Okay, none of those are something you end a show with. I'd settle for another CG trailer of a satellite. You could even set it to John Diver for all I care. Okay, so yeah, so Starfield is supposed to be coming out. I've also heard rumors that Bethesda is actually also working on another Elder Scrolls game. So like a Skyrim sequel or something like that. That one would be Elder Scrolls 6 or 7. I think it would be 7 actually, because Skyrim was 6. And we got Dragon Age 4. That's one that you could be interested in there, Des. So Dragon Age 4 thus far. There was a perfectly average announcement trailer at the Game Awards, full of close-ups and CG skulls, whatnot, some ominous dialogue, and then the Dreadwolf Rises. It's just really peculiar how EA has decided to launch their marketing campaign with a hashtag instead of letting the world of Dragon Age and its ravenous fan base do its own hyping. So... Is that Josh I just heard?
Yep, Josh is here.
Yeah, sorry, I just woke up.
It's okay, buddy. It's okay.
I needed a nap, but I didn't mean to sleep that long.
Hey, it's better late than never. Just saying.
One of my favorite quotes from Ghostbusters.
What?
No, when the
I know.
Titanic in New York, they're like,
It's
the
better late
Titanic,
than
the
never.
Titanic just came into port, and someone's like, better late than never.
Yeah.
That's pretty epic.
So, then we got another possible announcement at E3, Ninja Theory's Bleeding Edge. I actually don't know anything about that game. Okay, Playground's Fable game. What? Playground Games is primarily known for its work in Forza Horizon series. Microsoft reportedly saw fit to gift the Fable series over to the team, who at the time had recently secured a new 200-person office space. That news broke in January 2018. Okay, so this is the actual Fable 4 that we were talking about a little bit ago. So that one's possible to be announced. We got a Dino Crisis remake. Warner Brothers Montreal rumored Batman Court of Owls game. All right. Rocksteady's next game that looks like a. If you believe the rumors, Rocksteady is either working on a Justice League game or a Destiny-like Suicide Squad game. So that if they're doing that, that might be announced this year at E3. Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie, the game. Oh, what the fuck? So did you just Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie, the game? So is this? So they made a movie from a game, and then now they're going to
Yeah.
be making a game from the movie. Have you actually heard anything about that, Josh?
I mean, I heard about the movie. I didn't hear about the game or whatever the fuck you're talking about.
Apparently, yeah, they're going to be making a game of the movie that's of a game. Fucking, what's that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio? Inception.
Which one?
That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another Splinter Cell, possibly. Oh, and that's the last one they're talking about on it. So another Splinter Cell. So we already did all our gaming and tech stuff. So we're all in on gaming and tech right at this point in the show now, Josh. So,
Alright.
Elder Scrolls 6 is supposed to have a 10-year shelf life. Is that looking forward to the Outer Worlds. So I'm reading comments real quick. So have you even tried playing Apex Legends with your new computer? You sound like Josh. I don't like this game because I'm bad at it. No, I have tried playing Apex Legends. I don't know. I don't have anyone to really play it with for that much. So I mean, if I played it more with someone, I might like it. But yeah, and it's not that I don't not like it because I'm not good at it. I don't like it just because I haven't really played it. I have played it a little bit, but not that. So
I watched.
Oh, go ahead, Josh. Okay, he's Terrell Guelph said Square had the deal with Disney for Kingdom Hearts, and Marvel is owned by Disney, so it makes sense Square would be doing an Avengers series. All right. Don says looking forward to the Outer Worlds. Elder Scrolls 6 is supposed to have a 10-year shelf life. Elder Scrolls 5 was Skyrim. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. So, I mean, 10-year shelf life sounds about right because Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim has been out for coming up close to that long, hasn't it? No, not that long. Yeah, actually it came out before you and I were together. We've been together 8 years now. So that seems pretty legit. So, okay. I can see Elder Scrolls 6 having a 10-year shelf life. Bethesda games, they like to have those last for a long time, it seems. But what were you going to say a second ago, Josh?
Oh, I was just gonna say my roommate has Apex Legends. I saw him play it when it first came out. It looked like a good game, but it just looks like it would be repetitive towards the end.
Mm-hmm. So apparently
You just have to grind and keep doing it over and over. I think
Okay.
that's what a lot of people were bitching about.
Mm-hmm. So, let's see. We got another one here. Another story. It's talking about how Microsoft is supporting Steam. So let's see what this is having to say. Microsoft's support of Steam is exactly what Valve needs right now. A bunch of blockbusters are going to drop on Steam during a very competitive time. Back when I visited Rare in March to see Sea of Thieves anniversary update in action, I asked about the split between those playing on PC and Xbox. Right now, about 30% of the player base is on PC. Executive producer Joe Neat told me. He said that Rare was very, very happy with that number. But I couldn't help but wonder how big Sea of Thieves pirate game could be if it was on Steam as well, instead of being stuck on the Microsoft Store. Last week, Microsoft made waves with its announcement that it was going to start bringing more of its games to Steam, as well as other storefronts. See the full Our Approach to PC Gaming post here, where Game Pass for PC was also announced. See it? Why is this talking about Sea of Thieves when the picture's about fucking Halo? Okay. Oh, now it's going to mention Halo down here. We will continue to add to the more than 20 Xbox Game Studios titles on Steam, starting with Gears 5 and all Age of Empires 1, 2, and 3 definitive editions. This is alongside the previously announced Halo the Master Chief Collection. Valve stands to benefit a lot here in a year where it's faced competition from the Epic Game Store when it comes to exclusives on the biggest upcoming games like The Outer Worlds and Borderlands 3. Microsoft's messaging puts Steam at the core of its plans. Alright, so Epic Games is getting Outer Worlds and Borderlands 3. Microsoft is going to be getting, obviously, the Halo stuff because that's a Microsoft game. And then all the Age of Empires and Gears 5, huh? So that's what it's going to be exclusive. So now we're going to be dealing with exclusives on fucking PC. That's fucking... That actually really kind of irritates me. You know what I'm talking about, Josh?
Yeah.
Because it's like now you're going to have 15 different fucking... Okay, so 8 years. Yeah, you're going to have like 4 different freaking launchers on a computer to freaking play games, which that's just... I don't know. Sure. Don said, yeah, Elder Scrolls, Skyrim has been out for 8 years, and it says people are still playing it. Exactly, I still have it. I still play it every now and then. So, I think actually that's one of the games I do have installed on my computer at all times, just in case I don't have internet or something. So, John, have you heard of the Google Stadia?
Nope.
So, it's a game. Google Stadia. Let's see. Google Stadia, price, release date, games revealed in pre-event mega leak. Google Stadia, the highly anticipated cloud gaming service that released to enormous fanfare at the GDC in March, is soon expected to release the major details about its potentially console-killing service. But hours before executives take the stake, it looks like Stadia's price, release date, and game roster were all leaked by a French-Canadian outlet that was briefed on the news. The search giant has been tight-lipped about its cloud gaming service since its March announcement at GDC 2019. But just like the leaks that plagued its Pixel smartphones, all of Stadia's pricing options, its release month, specs, and major games have come to light. The information comes from Canadian news site La Presse, and it seems to have accidentally published a pre-written story summarizing Stadia Connect. It doesn't cite any sources, but rattles off staggeringly comprehensive list of Stadia details as fact. Inverse reached out to Google to verify the leaks, but the company did not immediately respond to requests for comment. That said, the press's story was confirmed by Kotaku news editor Jason Schreier early Thursday morning on Twitter. Schreier is a trusted gaming industry insider who correctly leaked Fallout 4 setting in game dialogue before the title was released, and who has closely followed Stadia's development. The report says Stadia will be available in 14 countries, including Canada, as of November. It doesn't list anything more specific, and it's possible that Google will also leave its release date open-ended to deal with any foreseen issues before launch. It's a bit vague, particularly given that it is an international outlet, but fortunately the pricing, specs, and game details are all more specific. Price and bundles. Google is allegedly set to announce Stadia launch bundle, which will include few different pricing options. All the following prices are likely in Canadian dollars, so Inverse will include a conversion. The Stadia Founders Edition retails for $169, which would be basically $126 US, and will include the Stadia controller, a 4K supporting Chromecast Ultra, access to Destiny 2, and 3 months of subscription. The bundle will be available for pre-order on Thursday. Since Stadia is compatible with all game controllers and a myriad of devices, interested consumers can also opt for a Stadia Pro subscription and begin playing, but Stadia will require a Chromecast to work at first. But Google plans on optimizing it on any Google device with Chrome by 2020. So Stadia will initially be a subscription only and cost $12 per month. and that's, let's see what else we got here. And in case any of you don't know so Google Stadia, it's a server-based gaming platform. So instead of having your physical computer or console or whatnot sitting in your house so you can play games, what this does is you can sign on. So you have like a smart TV with a Google Chromecast. So you plug the Chromecast in, which allows you to connect your TV to the Google Stadia servers, and then on the servers are going to be games. So you pick which game you want to play, and then that gets sent through the game gets streamed basically to your computer or your TV through the internet, and you can play right there without actually having a computer. And they're saying you're supposed to be able to play at 1080p without any latency, lag and all that stuff. So it effectively, using these streaming-based gaming systems, you should be able to play a PC game the same as me with this $1,200, beast of a gaming computer sitting in front of me, effectively, by paying $12 a month and buying the $130 Google Stadia thing. So, it says Stadia will have 31 games at launch. So, and the headline titles are including Destiny 2, The Division 2, Doom, the 2016 version, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and 3 editions of Tomb Raider. And that's all it's saying right there. Internet speed requirements: you need at least 10 meg internet for baseline performance. Anyone with a Chromecast Ultra will need 35 megs to play on 4K at 60 frames. Being able to play 4K at 60 frames with 35 megs, that seems a bit low, but okay. So the minimum estimates are lower than Google's 2025. So, yeah. So yeah, there we go. Google Stadia. So if you're interested in getting into PC gaming, there's going to be a lot of options for that for you there. Okay, so Dawn says Google Stadia has major latency issues. Okay. People are, yeah. So let's see.
I have something to talk about that's interesting.
Okay, go ahead.
So, I think it was yesterday. Tuesday. So Tuesday night, in San Diego, there was a massive swarm of ladybugs that were heading towards San Diego. That the meteorologist, the precipitation, the thing that they show, like that they predict the weather, showed the massive amount on their radar. It was 80 miles long and 80 miles wide, heading towards San Diego.
That's neat.
Yeah, they were flying like about 5,000 to 9,000 feet high, but that's a lot of goddamn ladybugs to make a blob on like the radar for the weather. I mean, that's a big, massive blob of ladybugs.
Mm-hmm. That's actually pretty cool. Migration. Yeah,
Yep.
that's what it is. The world's coming to an end.
It's called, the term of the ladybugs is called a bloom. So.
Okay. I watched an episode of Ancient Aliens last night. So, there are a couple things about the episode that were pretty neat. Like, there's one, they were talking about, here recently, there was some, I don't know if it was a picture from the space station or just, satellite pictures on GPS and like Google Earth and all that stuff, but there's a picture of the planet with a contrail that goes from the South Pole to the North Pole. So it's like a single unbroken contrail that traverses the length of the planet, so north to south. And it's like, what they're saying in Ancient Aliens is like, in order for that to actually like legitimately happen, your typical contrail is only going to, hang around in the sky for a half hour or so. So in order for this contrail to actually be fully non-dispersed from north to south pole, the craft would have had been traveling at like 50,000 miles an hour or something. So.
Oh, wow.
That was neat.
I saw that picture that you shared.
Mm-hmm. So that was neat. And then A little bit later in the episode, there is a part that made this episode of Ancient Aliens lose a lot of credibility to me. But there's this investigative journalist, and she said she was interviewing this guy. He was a retired Navy SEAL, right? And to get some information that he had of stuff that he saw when he was in Alaska, or not Alaska, in Antarctica. Yeah,
Talking
Antarctica.
about the big hole.
Say that one more time.
You talking about the big hole?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but when she was talking to him, she's like, so you're a Navy SEAL? He's like, yes, I'm a Navy SEAL. My rank was First Lieutenant Commander of Special Operations. I was like, what, huh? First Lieutenant Commander? So, I mean, yeah, that was. Did you catch? I'm assuming you watched that episode, Josh.
I didn't watch it, but I knew about it already.
Okay, so yeah, I cut the clip of the dude saying that, and I uploaded it to Facebook last night. It's on my thing, but like he said, First Lieutenant Commander, and there's no such rank like that. It's like in the Navy, there's no first lieutenants. There's a lieutenant, but no first lieutenant. There is a lieutenant commander. So it's like that. I don't think that dude was legit, to be honest. But I thought it was comical. So yeah. There was that about Google Stadia. Let me go check comments real quick. Okay, so still just Mickey Saberson saying dicks out for Harambe. Woo woo. Alright then. Worst babysitting job ever. Yes, there we go. So, moving right along, we have a few more stories. Do we want to talk about Destiny 2? Probably not. Anyone who's concerned, anyone who likes Destiny, Destiny 2, all that stuff, Destiny is going to be moving to Steam. I'll just hit the highlights on it. Destiny 2 is going free to play, moving to Steam, and getting cross save. So Destiny 2 will be free to play, and cross save, I assume that means you can save on any platform you're playing on, and it'll be available on any other platform. So, when does it say it's going to be happening? It doesn't give a time frame, I don't think. It says Shadow Keep is out this fall. So, I don't know. It doesn't give a time frame of when it's going to be free to play on Steam. But keep an eye out on Steam for Destiny 2 to pop out free to play if you're interested in that. Alright, so, and then another rumor. Got Blizzard is working on Overwatch 2, and apparently they canceled a, what was it? They canceled a StarCraft themed shooter, I do believe is what it was. So Blizzard is working on a sequel to Overwatch, according to a report by Kotaku. Though nothing officially has been announced, the news came from anonymous sources who told Kotaku that Overwatch 2 is in development and is expected to be revealed at BlizzCon 2019 in November. There's not much more to say than that. They don't really have any info, but yeah, they're saying there was rumors of a StarCraft-based first-person shooter that I guess is being shelved again, because I guess this isn't the first time that's happened. Yeah, this comes on the back of some other surprising news also covered in Kotaku's report, which states that Blizzard recently canceled a StarCraft first-person shooter that was 2 years in development to focus efforts on Diablo 4 and this newly rumored Overwatch 2. So those of you who are looking forward to a StarCraft-based, StarCraft-themed first-person shooter, does not look like we will be getting that anytime soon. So, is that a game that you would be interested in playing, a StarCraft-themed shooter?
Nah, I don't know. Maybe.
Like, I know you're not a big Destiny fan, are you?
I mean, I've never played it. I mean, I know about it, but
When I had my PC or my PS4,
people bitched about it a lot.
Well, when I had my PS4, it came with Destiny, because I got the Destiny edition PS4, but I didn't have internet at the time, and Destiny was an online game, so I got rid of the game. Obviously, I had the PS4 still, but so yeah, I got rid of the game, and then later at a point when I had internet, I ended up getting Destiny again and tried playing it a little bit, but it wasn't my kind of game. I don't know. It didn't quite work out for me, but it wasn't a horrible game. Just not my kind of thing. But I would like to play a StarCraft-based shooter. I'm assuming if they did do a StarCraft-themed shooter, it would have to end up being something along the lines similar to like a Overwatch or Paladins themed game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why when you asked, I was just like, I don't know. I don't know if I'd play it because I knew it had to be something like that.
So, and then let's see. I already went through a list, but we can go through this list. This is another list of a huge leak ahead of E3 reveals new games and remasters. I think I went over this with you last night or something, or the other night, but I can't remember. Let's see. So they're talking about a reveal of Elden Ring, which is a created by From Software. It's a collaboration with Game of Thrones author George R.R. Martin. I have an article coming up about that. Let's see. Tales of Arise apparently leaked with screenshots. There's a PS4, Xbox One, PC. This article's not really saying much of anything. So we've got Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch remastered has leaked. That's something I bet Don knows that game. Ni no Kuni. Let's see, and then obviously the Elden Ring, which is the George R.R. Martin game. A new world created by Hidetaka Miyazaki and George R.R. Martin from Software. Tales of Arise apparently leaked with screenshots, and that's it. This article's kind of weak. So we'll move on to the one about the George R.R. Martin, and that's the last thing that I've got. Let's see. Rumor: Elden Ring is the official name from Software plus George R.R. Martin's Great Rune. So, a leak of Bandai Namco's E3 assets appears to have given us our first look at a new RPG, Tales of Arise, and the logo of another game called Elden Ring. And this is a big one. According to the description, Elden Ring is the official name of Project Great Rune, the rumored collaboration between author George R.R. Martin and the developer From Software. From Software, didn't they do? No, that was id Software that did Donkey Kong. Never mind. The description posted to 4chan and elsewhere online reads: Elden Ring, developed by From Software, incorporated, and Bandai Namco Entertainment Incorporated, is a fantasy action RPG adventure set within a world created by Hidetaka Miyazaki, creator of the influential Dark Souls video game series, and George R.R. Martin, author of the New York Times best-selling fantasy series A Song of Ice and Fire. Danger and discovery lurk around every... That should have been a new paragraph. Danger and discovery lurk around every corner, and From Software's largest game to date. Hidetaka Miyazaki, president and game director of From Software Incorporated, and NBSP, known for directing critically acclaimed games in beloved franchises, including Armored Core, Dark Souls, and Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. George R.R. Martin is the #1 New York Times bestselling author. It's the same shit over and over. Alright. So, according to posts, along with the leak, is coming to PS4, Xbox, and PC. And that's it on that article as well. So, yeah.
I'm looking forward to the new Madden game.
New Madden game 2020?
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be on PC or not, though. I haven't heard, but...
I mean, I would assume that...
I hope so.
Especially with Origin, how they're trying to push the Origin launcher. I think it probably will, because, I mean, that's one of their bigger titles that they have. So I couldn't see them not bringing it on PC. But
It's supposed to come out next month.
is it really?
Yep.
So, I don't know. I haven't really heard anything about it. I know, I hope that they drop it on the Origin pass that we've got, so that we can get it for, I mean, basically free. But I don't know if they're going to do that, if they're going to wait for a little while before they drop it for free on there, but because I'm not going to be able to spend $60 on a football game when it comes out to play it. Now, if I get it for free, I will. So,
Yeah, I don't know either. I haven't heard anything about it being dropped on Origin.
so I guess we'll find out next month, huh?
Yeah,
I
I
guess
can't
we
remember
will.
the exact date. I wanted to say July 31st, but I think I could be way wrong on that.
Now, here's a question. I know back when, before, everything switched over to this more online type play that they're doing with the football games. I remember back when you'd have, like, the NCAA games would come out and you could play the college football game,
Yeah, you play that, make a character on there, and then import it to the Madden.
hmm Do they still do that, or is that,
I don't know.
okay. Because that was awesome. I did that a few times back when I used to play on console. But
Yeah, I'm not sure.
they've really changed the way the football games are played. Like, even just a few years ago, as far as I can remember, your football games, like your Madden games, those were still more of a couch co-op type game. Like, you could do online gaming, but it was still more geared to where people could just play together in the same room.
Yeah.
But they're starting to move away from that.
Yep, they are.
So, with all of that being said, we are out of things to talk about this week. We've already done everything. So, yeah. With that being said, thank you for showing up, Josh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for a
20
whole
minutes.
20 minutes. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, thank you.
I was
appreciate
tired. I went to I was like at like 4. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna take a nap, and then yeah, I didn't wake up till like 7:30.
and Connor's at a friend's house this week. So he's hanging out with someone. He said, I'm literally at his house on his PC. And I was like, okay, well, dude, have a good weekend. I was like, maybe if you're still up, Josh and I can play some games with you later. He's like, yeah, but it'll have to be Smite because he doesn't have anything else on his computer. So I guess he doesn't have Siege or anything else on his computer. So I don't know.
I'm sure it's a he. I'm sure that's the kind of friend he's hanging out with right now.
Probably. In fact, I think he actually said he.
Yeah, well, he may not want to tell everybody that he has a girlfriend. So I'm just saying.
Nah, he'd tell you. He'd be
I know
excited.
he's very open-minded. So I mean, he would definitely tell us if he had a girlfriend.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of Smite. And it isn't because I suck at it. Well, it is because I suck at it, but I've tried playing Smite a lot, and I just plain suck at it. So, ask Josh. I suck at a lot of games. Either way, one thing. I tried playing some Rocket League last night by myself just to see, if maybe I could get a little bit get some wins in Rumble. And even just playing with randoms, as soon as I hit that Division 3, it just got stomped.
Yep.
So it's fucking stupid. Like I played like 2 or 3 games, and before I popped up to Division 3, and we were fucking whooping ass, right? And then as soon as Division 3 came around, fucking getting stomped again, and I don't. There's something wrong with the way they match people with that, because I just don't understand how or why just going for not even changing levels. So I didn't go from silver to gold. I'm still in the silver category, just a division. And it's like the skill difference between Division 2 to Division 3 is fucking insane. It's like going from noobs to pro players, which I'm just fucking over it. Either way, we're time for us to end the broadcast. Y'all have a wonderful weekend. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your support. As always, it has been 1700 somewhere. Make sure you check out all the other shows we have here on VRS. You got, Backwoods Veterans come on tomorrow. You got ThreatCon 5 that comes on Monday, and a whole bunch of other shows. I still have not done my due diligence and gotten the schedule memorized or anything like that. I know I suck. Fuck me.
Forest Church is on tomorrow. Bear News is on tomorrow. I don't know. He needs to talk to High Tech or talk to JDub and get a whole list for you
Well,
guys.
at the same time, a lot of the shows are actually starting to broadcast from their own personal pages because Facebook is doing some shadow banning type stuff, so it's making it hard for our shows to be noticed when we're streaming from the Vet Radio Syndicate page. And I've heard some talk about other possible things we're trying to do in order for that. So there'll be more info coming down the line on that. We're working on trying to figure out how to get beyond Facebook's stupidity. But yeah, with all that, thank you for watching. We'll catch you next week, same time, same place. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay out of jail. Keep your dicks wrapped if you have to. Yeah. So.
Unless you're Harambe, dicks out for him.
Yeah. Keep.
Or unless you're, whatchamacallit,
But yeah.
referencing that.
So with that, I'm Athen.
I'm Desiree.
I'm Josh, belated.
Yes.
Very belated.
Belated Josh. We love y'all faces. Catch you next week, same time, same place.